Oh, wow. Saw it twice, so I was like, oh my god.
That was just weird.
I always used to see a light coming up, like a headlight, but there was nobody there.
Oh, it's just disappeared.
Hello everybody, welcome to Truth Proof. We've finally got there, a little bit better than Thursday. Hope you're all well on this Sunday, Father's Day. So the fathers amongst us, I hope you've all got some nice gifts. Got my t-shirt on off Jessica, so I'm happy. And yeah, all good. Let's have a look. Over 100 people in chat, so that's absolutely great. Thanks for the support, guys. Thursday were out of my control. The StreamYard just went down globally, so nothing I could do about it. And all being well, we'll be back this coming Thursday. But just to jump on it again, we've got Johnny, who's going to share his incredible sighting stroke experience that he saw and endured back in 2013, and he's going to talk us through it. So I think we're quite fortunate. It'll be the first time he's ever spoke about it, apart from to his close friends. So I'm really pleased about that. So before we bring him on, we'll just have a quick name shout here. We've got Stargazer, Steve Collin, Carl Dan, Wendy Rose. Let's have a look. Ian Linney. All right, Linney. Elaine will be in. Alison's doing moderating. We might not get questions up. You might have to rely on me, so you'll be able to shout at me if I don't get the questions out. Lee's doing moderating tonight. You Forest Explorer, Declan Walsh, Zeno. Let's have a look. Liam and Dragonborn. Good to see you. Fran Haplin. So Alpin, sorry. So yeah, we're going to jump into it. Gareth Dixon. So hi, Gareth, and let's bring Johnny on. There we go. Hi, Johnny. Good to see you.
Hi, Paul. Hi, everybody.
Yeah, and like I've just told him, I don't think you've spoke about this before to anybody, have you, outside of close friends?
No, I haven't spoke at all about it to anybody, to be honest with you. It's just one of them experiences whereabouts it's taken a long time to get over, and I just didn't want to. Relive the moments, basically. So
yeah, well, you said earlier, time's a great healer.
It is,
and,
yeah.
You know, but I suppose, I mean, we're going to get into it. So if people think this is a bit drawn out, we're just going to paint a picture. I suppose it did take you a while to get over this, did it? It preyed on your mind constantly?
Yeah, all the time. Yeah. It wasn't just the sighting, it was what happened after the sighting as well, which was a lot more dramatic. And that took a long time to get over. A long time. Yeah.
So without going into detail about the nature of what you were doing, you were a military contractor at the time, yeah?
Yeah. I was working in a place called Northern in Devonshire, about June 2013, probably about 12 years back.
Yeah.
I had, not going into detail, but yeah, I had a couple of years contract with MOD work, and luckily for me, they located us in a nice big house on a cliff edge. And I only had the one neighbour next door to it. And I had a huge garden, and it overlooked Northern Beach.
Right.
And there was no trees in the way or nothing like that. It was a beautiful scenery. You could see for miles. Yeah, it was excellent.
So prior to what you saw on, I think it was June, weren't it, 2013, had you had any previous experience or any interest in anything of the unexplained nature?
No, none at all. Never seen a UFO, never seen any strange lighting, or had no experience whatsoever. None whatsoever. I've always been open-minded. One of them, if it happens, it happens, and I'll be lucky enough to see it. And then on this occasion, yeah, I was lucky enough to see it. Yeah.
Well, if you want to walk us into it, then
yeah, how
did it begin then?
Yeah, so we'll finish work normal time, and then the ex-wife of mine says, "Oh, we'll have some tea in the back garden." And a good pal of mine I was working with, one of the HSA guys, he come over and he says, "Yeah, I'll have a bite to eat with you." And the three were sitting there. we're approximately around about 6:37, between 6:30 and 7 p.m. Sun's just starting to go down, and then we're seeing a line of 7 lights, bright lights.
I'll just bring this drawing up, John. What you took, what you sketched, sorry.
Yeah.
And so you drew that. I'm assuming not long after seeing them.
Yeah. Definitely. We were located up on the cliff. We were only no more than a mile away. In this exactly what happened. You had the 7 lights in a line, and the one would shoot off at fantastic speed. By the time you blink your eye, that was replaced with another one, and these were going in all different directions and different speeds. It was, they were orange and they were white at the same time.
Yeah.
When you were looking through just your naked eye, you couldn't look at that specific light for maybe 2-3 seconds. Then you had to focus elsewhere because it was starting to hurt your eyesight.
That's fascinating because that's come up so many times in people's sightings.
Yeah.
Then obviously we're doing your story, but those that we look at over the sea, Bempton, Speeton and Flamborough, they don't hurt your eyes. They're not that brilliant that they're hurting your eyes. But we have had people up there that said they can't look at them because they're so bright. It's so intense. But we know it weren't dark, but were they illuminating a large area around them?
No, just in that one line. They were all horizontal. In whatever replaced one craft, again, it was just that perfect level of that horizontal line. You could only look for only a few seconds, and then you had to look away again. And then I think the ex-wife says, let me get a pair of binoculars. There's an old pair in the garage drawer there, and she come out with them, and I've focused on one of them, and that's the drone. What it was
I'll put that up. Yeah.
It was approximately, roughly about 10 foot by 10 foot, approximately, but I don't know, maybe the size of a transit van, and it was rotating in a clockwise direction. They were metallic bronze, what I could work out, and they had three strobing lights on one side.
And the white lights were white, weren't they?
Yeah, they were right. Yeah, very white. Yeah, they were rotating. It wasn't going fast. They were rotating slow. They weren't going fast. And then I zoomed out of that one. My pal got the binoculars. He seen the same. And then I went to another light, and that was exactly the same. It was exactly the same shape, same dimension. Again, rotating slowly. And then that would shoot off its fantastic speed and get replaced with exactly another one, which would be exactly the same. Bronze metallic, triangle shaped, rotating slowly.
It's fascinating, and it throws a different, pardon the pun, light on this, because I can only draw comparisons to the lights that we see over the sea, and I'm not going to say, there's something structured inside them, but there clearly is here, and we're just thinking we're looking at lights. Now, obviously, the object you saw must have been emitting this light, and the actual object is there, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, definitely. It was definitely emitting a light. It was an orange and white glow. And for some reason, the binoculars, you could actually pick it went through the light, so you could actually see the shape.
Yeah.
And when it was rotating, I was trying to focus in. There was some type of pattern, some type of hieroglyphic pattern. I don't know what it was, but that was on each of the sides when it was rotating.
So they weren't miles and miles out to sea then, John, were they?
They were approximately about 150 to 200 feet up above the sand itself. Where we were positioned, we're approximately about a mile out to sea.
Yeah.
And when I looked along the beach as well, there was well over a few hundred people, and they were all doing exactly the same. They were staring in awe, sitting, just looking at it, going, wow.
Yeah.
What on earth is this? And what the lights were doing, they were contrasting, so that they were coming in and going out, and they were only moving out no more than 10 seconds away, then coming in slowly and going back out. And this went on maybe 15 minutes, 15 minutes. And again, time sort of like slowed down as well.
Absolutely. And obviously, I know that there'll be some people listening to this with nearly 200 people here now, and they'll be thinking, well, how come other people didn't see them? And we'll get back to sighting in a minute, the core of the sighting. But they did, Johnny, didn't they? They did see them.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, they did.
I
Yeah.
mean, the papers reported it.
Yeah, the Gazette, the local Gazette, them did a full a full story on it. And she went down. The reporters went round basically as many people as they possibly could, including myself, and everyone witnessed the same. Everybody's story was the same. Obviously, they only printed what they wanted to print, and so many people had said this and said this, and. But I know what we're seeing, and it was absolutely fantastic to see. Absolutely brilliant.
Apart from what happened, we'll get to what happened after in a bit. We don't have to do that yet. But we spoke earlier, and you said you'd love to see them again. You'd love to see something like that again. How did it make? Did you think you were looking at something man-made or something from somewhere else?
Something not. Yeah. Certainly we didn't make it. You know what I've seen and what we can do. I would definitely say that it wasn't human made, whatever it was.
Yeah.
It was the breathtaking speed. It just split second. It was just gone within seconds.
And then another one replaced it.
Yeah, another one replaced it. It was just absolutely unbelievable to watch. But yeah.
Well, there's a guy comes in chat, Dave Barker. And he lives at Spayton, Dave. He'll not mind me saying, because he's had an incredible sighting, and I got the Coast Guard the Coast Guard report of that one, and that involved lights over the sea that were moving at incredible speed. They looked like a 5 on a domino at one point, and they were orange in color, or yellowy orange in color. And I know that he didn't experience what you experienced afterwards, but. It's still fascinating. Do you hope after, I mean, chances are, I mean, it takes a bit for these things to permeate and filter through, but there might be somebody out there who's actually had a similar experience from that time. Would it be something that, would you want to speak to somebody if anybody came forward?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. And if they have experienced what I experienced, it's the after, what actually happened afterwards. That's what I would definitely love to sit down with that person and discuss. Yeah.
So before we move to that, then you on your drawing on this one, let's just do this one again. These lights, I don't know why, because I've wrote about this, haven't I? And I didn't really look at the drawing in detail and notice that there's a yacht there, or depicting a yacht. These lights, in comparison to the yacht and the sun's setting, is that the sun setting or is that a light?
The one on the right. Yeah, it's supposed to be the sun setting.
Yeah. Well, you've got it. That's what I thought it was. But they look quite big. These lights look quite big, don't they? The influence that the light's giving off is bigger than the little triangle inside. I can see that you've done a triangle inside each one.
Yeah, but the lights were a lot closer, Paul. Yeah, than what I've drawn. They were a lot closer.
What impression did it have on your friend and your ex-partner?
Yeah, exactly the same. Yeah, we couldn't believe what we were seeing. We're looking through the binoculars, going, "Wow, is this happening here?" We all stood up and wow. And then I'm sure he was the ex. She got on the phone and she was phoning one of our friends, saying, "Are you seeing what we're seeing here?" Yeah, what a fantastic experience! Brilliant.
And obviously, I'm asking the obvious, but there was no sound.
No sound whatsoever. No noise. No
aircraft activity afterwards, or
no noise whatsoever. No helicopters or no airplane. No activity whatsoever. And then when they eventually did disappear, they went back out to sea really slow and then just shot off at fantastic speed.
Right. Al Durham says, "What was the paper title and any idea of the date of the publication?"
It would be in the Northern Gazette, approximately. Well, this happened in June 2013.
I think it was about the 21st, Al. And if anybody can dig out, Johnny, Al Durham can. He likes looking for information. Does Al? He's a good friend. He's a great guy. So it's useful with this particular story. I know it'll fascinate him. So, how do I get rid of that now, people? Let's just have a look. I need to remove Al's question. That's it. It had all scrolled up. So I'm not used to the questions, people, so you'll have to bear with me. So after this, I don't think we've any more to add to the sighting over the sea, have we? But after this, how did things progress?
Yeah, so obviously we discussed it over a cup of tea for an hour or so, and then me pal he shot off, and then me and the missus obviously went to bed for approximately around about 10ish that evening, and then yeah, that's when different experience started from there.
Yeah, and we'll just deal with this one before we do that. Let's try a question. Having worked in the military, were you ever briefed on paranormal experiences and how to report any?
No, I wasn't. No,
That's a simple
definitely.
enough answer, that one, mate. Sorted. Okay, then, John, let's walk us into this, the events of the night as it sort of progressed.
Yeah. Getting back to that question, sorry, Paul. The only time we were briefed on any of the work we were doing, obviously we weren't allowed to take any pictures and tell anyone, what we were actually building. Basically, that was it. But we never ever discussed regarding paranormal activity. No.
No, I wouldn't have thought you would actually, would you? Unless you'd have had an experience whilst, I don't know, actually being a military personnel somewhere on a base or something. That didn't occur, did it?
No, I've never been in the military, so I'd just say no.
No, that's good.
But that evening, yeah, obviously we're working on MOD. You were breathalyzed every day, every morning. So and we never drank, and we're just drinking teas and pop, etc. So we went to bed that evening. We finished a cup of tea. We went to bed to say approximately about 10ish, and then starting to drop off, and then around about 15-20 minutes later, I heard there was a banging against the windows. It was a loud bang, a loud noise. Jumped up. What on earth? What's going on? Went out into the living room, and something was hitting the windows, and the same in the kitchen window. And then we put all the lights on. What on earth's happening here? Went outside.
It's dark now.
Yeah, it was approximately about 10:30 at night by this time. And went outside, and then they were Stalins, and I picked up 10, and my partner picked up 2, put them in black bags. The Stalins had been head first into the window and breaking their necks.
It's that. We can't see how that fits into sighting, but it's strange because you lived there a few years. Did that ever happen before or after?
Yeah, I lived there 2 years. And asked the neighbour as well, did he experience any, birds flying into his windows? None at all, none whatsoever.
It's like something from a film, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's absolutely crazy. Yeah. And these birds, when you picked them up, well, this sounds a bit macabre, but were they still sort of twitching, or were they?
No, the necks were broken on all of the birds. The 10 I picked up, the necks were all snapped. Yeah, and they were all fully grown Stalins. Yeah.
But at this point, you're not thinking anything could be connected.
No, I didn't put 2 and 2 together. No, I just thought, wow, that is weird. And then we went back into bed. And then again, probably, I don't know, maybe 30, 40 minutes later, the TV come on really loud, full volume. The 2 were jumped out, and the TV was on his, and it was really, sorry, static. Static. Yeah, it was static. And the volume was on full belt, and we just looked at each other and went, "Wow, what's going on here? This is not normal." And then the ex-wife shouted, "Look in the kitchen," and there's 5 doors open on the kitchen doors. It was 5 of them open.
But no noise. You didn't hear doors opening,
no noise whatsoever. No. And then I turned the TV off by the remote again, and then closed the doors. Went back in the bed, had a bit chat about it. 20 minutes later, the TV come back on again. Again, full volume. We went back out, and then unplugged the TV this time.
Yeah.
And then that's when that's when it all started.
When it unfolded. But just do you know? I talk about a case called a Humminbee, the Humminbee incident, where lots and lots of things happened that didn't seem connected to one another. And then you watch films like Poltergeist, and you know everybody will be familiar with that film, I would think, especially if you're interested in Unexplained. And there's similarities. You can kind of see where people got these ideas from, can't you? Because I mean, I've spoke to you over years, John, and your story's never changed. And it's fascinating. Were you actually asleep on both occasions that the TV came on, or we're still semi-awake?
Yeah, semi-awake. Yeah, just more or less dropping off. Yeah, and then obviously it comes on at full volume, and it's like, wow, what on earth is going on here? And then obviously with the second time with the TV, and obviously the birds strike, and then the cupboards on the TV twice. That's when we looked at each other and went, "Oh, this is not this is not normal. There's something weird happening." And then obviously the UFO sightings as well. So it was.
You didn't bother going back outside to see if they were back over to see or anything?
No, I did not. No, we did not. No, we did not. And then then went back into bed, and then that's when the nightmares started.
Yeah. So you know, we've covered a lot of this now, and if anybody's got any questions, I will try and get them up in capital letters, please. But I don't know how much you want to talk. I don't want to revive bad memories for you, but if you want to walk us into this, please do, because I feel it's got to be connected.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I would say so. I've written a few notes down, so I'll basically just condensed it. The only thing I can do is I put describe as undesirable dreams of pure evil, and that sums it up. What happened was, obviously I must have fell asleep, and after I fell asleep, what I can recall was if you close your eyes and think of your nearest and dearest, your wives, your husband, your sons, your daughters, all your animals, the people what mean the most to you, and if you close your eyes and you can just picture all them showing as much love and affection as they can give you, you want to center them and you can feel all of this warmth and love of them, and then a split second you see the extreme pain what they're in the skin's getting peeled off the faces, off the body, off the arms, off the neck, and the blood is splattering on your face and your mouth. You can taste it. You see all the hairs on their skin. Everyone is just so much. They are crying in terror so much. The pain is horrendous, but you are actually feeling that pain and terror as much as them. You are feeling it 10 times as worse, and it's to each individual person. So whether it's your son, your daughter, I was feeling that with all of my kids and my family and the missus and everyone who meant something to us, including my grandparents. I felt when I could see their eyes popping out and I could see their face and the skin, just the bones. They were crying uncontrollably, and they were grasping for you to help them, and you couldn't help them. You were covered in their blood and in their pain. You were feeling all of their whatever them were going through.
How long do you think that lasted?
For me, it seemed to last a lifetime. I can't give it exact duration, but it seemed a long time. And then my partner woke us up. And I've written down how she did wake us up, as she had said it. She said, apparently I was suffering some type of violent involuntary muscle contractions. I was shaking violently, and once I was awake, I was in a fetal position crying so uncontrollably. I was shaking. I remember waking up shaking, and all I had was just this what I just experienced. And it was.
And I think that were graphic enough. I think everybody knows what you went through there. And what were your first reaction that they'd imparted that to you? They'd given you that information. They'd showed you that.
I didn't know what I felt, Paul. To be honest, I was so frightened. I was petrified. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I've never ever witnessed anything like that in my life.
No.
It was controlling. I was trying to control my emotions. I realized where I was, but I couldn't stop shaking for quite a long time. In trying to give us water and trying to basically just calm us down a bit. But yeah, apparently was into spasm as well. My back was arched as well when I was lying on the bed, and I was shaking violently with my back being arched. And my arms were all stiff, and my legs were stiff, and my head was controllably shaking from side to side as well.
Did you go back to sleep, or do you not know?
No,
Can you not remember?
no, I stayed awake. I
you did. I didn't know.
I was frightened. Yeah, I thought, no way I can go back to sleep. No, I stayed awake. Eventually ended up having a cold shower. A few hours later, I couldn't stop. I was just crying. I was so upset. I couldn't get the image out of my head. It was just continuing. It was just reliving all the time.
So first of all, you've had all this trauma shown to you. Like I said, we don't have to do that again. We know what that is. But how long did it take for your mind to settle down and start to think, could that be connected?
Oh, yeah, I'd say probably the following day.
Right.
I was just starting to think then, hold on, all of this happened after seeing the lights. And then the birds and the TV and the cupboards, and I'm thinking, yeah, there must be there's a pattern here.
Because when you saw the lights, there were nothing frightening, were they? Like you said yourself, they looked incredible. No, I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel any terror. I was in awe. That's all I was, just in awe, looking at these. And as we've spoke about earlier, and in past, there's got to be a key here. I mean, we don't want to open it again either, do we? But there's got to be a key here, because there's something that you saw that you weren't supposed to see. And could the key be as simple as you saw those copper-coloured, bronze-coloured pyramids, whereas we're looking at these things out at sea, and other people are looking at these spheres of light, and all we're thinking is spheres of light, but you've seen something structured inside it. And you don't get many reports like that. I've not had loads of people telling me, I saw a sphere of light over a crop, over a field as big as a beach ball, or as big as a VW transporter, and I could see something inside it. But you saw there's something inside it.
Yeah. You summed it up in one of your references in your book. There's something or someone wanted me silenced, and certainly delivered a horrific portion of pure terror. It was designed to close me down and go into myself for a number of years, and it worked.
It worked.
It certainly did. Yeah. I was frightened to discuss it with anybody in case I would get again reports again. And I didn't want any. I sort of like put it at the back of my memory, and I didn't want to bring it forward again. But
and there's a perfect example, John, of why people do shelve these things and don't want to relive them, because for some people, that you've just said time's a great healer, and I asked you before we went on, are you happy to talk about this, didn't I? Yeah. And but for some people, they probably wouldn't want to, would they?
No, I'm sure they wouldn't. As
you're talking, I'm just scrolling up for this question.
Sure, go for it.
Yeah. So let's have a look if I can find it. I did see one. Right, here we go. Show. Now, what was your first reaction? Was it to think it was our own military or something else?
Regarding the
lights, because they wouldn't know anything about the aftermath, would they?
Right. The lights then, I really don't think it was our military. No, unless they can prove otherwise. It was just a fantastic speed that they were moving. I don't know anything what can move that fast and stop dead at that position and blink of an eye. Travel over. So many. It was light. It was just by the time you blinked, there was another one there. Phenomenal speed.
It'd be interesting, people in chat, what your views are on what the key could have been, because I really don't know. Apart, the only thing I can think is that what he could see inside the sphere of light, maybe what you wasn't supposed to see. Something definitely wanted to close you down, didn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And in the guy I was with as well, he also seen inside the sphere.
But he didn't get treated to that.
He had nothing what I had. When obviously I seen him at work, and I mentioned, I didn't mention what happened to me. I just says, "Oh, did you did you have any other experiences? He went, nope. He says, no. He says, I stayed awake that night, but he says nothing else, So
Absolutely.
For whatever reason, I don't know.
We'll just have a look at this. What's this? Lisa says, that's horrendous. Do you think the phenomena is trying to test our reactions to emotions? I don't know.
Yeah, well, maybe. Yeah. It certainly tested mine. I would. It's took us off. Well, I'll take it to my grave with us. It's kept us quiet for over 12 years.
We've got another one here, but let's have a look. From Zeno, you mentioned birds flying into your window. Turns out most birds see their reflection of the garden instead. What time? Right, you can tell him time and everything. And I think I know what you're going to say about the blinds.
Yeah. So inside the house, obviously, we had the Venetian blinds. We just closed all them at night time, and all the lights were off. So there was no lights on, and for some, whereabouts that our bay window was with the kitchen, we've got the next door house. So for whatever reason, they flew past his bay windows, and then made a sharp left, and then come into our kitchen and started to hit our bay windows on the kitchen.
It's so strange, that, isn't it? And well, as far as I know, somebody correct me. I'm pretty sure starlings they go to roost. They're not nocturnal.
Yeah, especially at night. Yeah.
We know owls are and things. In fact, I say it every time, but seagulls are. Seagulls have got eyes as good as owls because they're flying all over the place on a night round here.
Yeah.
But I don't think starlings do they?
But for them to hit the window with such force to snap the neck and it was. In watching them, I'm inside the window looking at them. I pulled the blinds back and starling come directly towards us and just snapped its neck. And I'm shocked. What's going on here?
And it's not like it's one. I think we've all experienced, not everybody, but I think we've had it once when we lived in Doncaster, a starling or a sparrow flying into a window, being chased by a sparrowhawk. Do you know what I mean? When a bird of prey, but to get, you pick 10 up, your wife picks 2 up.
2 up, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, black bag them all, yeah.
Martin Abbas, hi Martin, says, not fit, sounds like a download, some kind of download that's been sort of given to you. Do you know what I mean? Or do you know what he's meaning by that?
No, not fit.
Well, download of information, basically.
Yeah, I understand, yeah.
If it's coming from Martin, it'll be coming from a good place. So you know what I mean?
Yeah. I would just ask Martin, why me?
Yeah. Well,
there was thousands of people see what I seen. I wasn't the only one who's seen it through the binoculars, but
There's Linny. Thanks for sharing the experience with us. Well done.
Yeah,
and that's what he looks like. You see that little picture there, Johnny? That's what Linny looks like.
Does he look like a monkey? Does it?
Yeah, he does. He does look like a monkey. No, he's also flip tops with us. I'll see him tomorrow night. He'll probably break my nose or something when I see him for saying that. But
apologies, Lenny, anyway.
No, he's bang on. So fascinating. So we've gone through all that. It's took you a few years really to feel confident enough to start talking about it to anybody. Obviously, your wife will have known about it fairly sharpish, would she?
Yeah. She didn't experience the night terrors. Obviously, she witnessed me, having, being just seeing me shaking and uncontrollably. But I don't think she looked through the binoculars the way we did as well. Me and a friend of mine. She looked at them as the lights were moving. But she when I did ask her, she didn't experience anything like what I experienced. No.
Let's just do this one. Somebody Steve Collins telling us about starlings. Usually are in flocks called murmurations. Yeah, when they go to roost, there's the murmuration in there. And that's interesting. So, did you see flocks of starlings around that property?
No, not once. No. Not once. No. Not in 2 years. No.
Okay. And let's have a look. Martin's saying, have you had any other intermind connections, as in any more kind of messages? If we're going to call it a message, it was a terrifying message, but have you had any more?
Not regarding the terror, the night terrors. Other UFO sightings, yes, but not the terrors.
Yeah, and before you think that you're going to trip Johnny up, this was after that sighting, because we know prior to that you'd had none, had you?
No, none ever, none.
Yeah,
none,
because
none.
people, I can't vouch for this man enough. I've spoke to him over a number of years, and to me, it's a terrifying. It's not something I'd want to live through or experience. So we'll probably have to keep jumping back to this with questions. But I know that there were a second sighting in August of 2013.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you've made any notes of that one.
I have August. Yeah, it's approximately about 9:30 at night. There was two other sightings. Then were two white huge discs. Now them were about the size of a normal house, normal 3-story house. There were two white discs, and they were side by side, and they were perfectly round. Thinking two dinner plates, and the wife, she was coming back from Newcastle. I was waiting outside. I say approximately 9:30 at night, around about August the 13th. I waited outside. It was airy, it was very quiet, and I looked up at the sky, and these two discs come really slow. They weren't going fast at all, and they seemed to be quite close to the apex on the roof. Them come over, and they were going, I believe, in a southeast direction, and then they went out along Northern Beach, and then out to sea. And when the wife did turn up, she says, that's the first thing she said. She said, "Did you see the two white discs?" I says, "I did, yeah."
Oh, so she spotted them as well.
She says, "Yeah, we were all slowing down. There was cars in front." She says, "Everyone slowed down, and we were looking at these two white discs."
And did you mind jump to the sighting over the sea, because there's only a few months between them, isn't there?
Yeah. No, I was hoping and I was praying I would. One, I didn't get the binoculars out, and two, I was praying I wouldn't get any night terrors.
I was just thinking that. I was thinking, good God, did you even want to look at them after what happened?
Yeah, now them were quite bright, and you could look up them with the naked eye, because they seemed to light up the top of the roofs when they were coming over.
Yeah,
and when they come over the roof, the house I was in,
so they're casting a bit of light on rooftops.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. They were quite bright. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just show this one. Let's have a look. Catherine Jones question: Johnny, do you think it's possible you missed some time while seeing the lights? Could that be the key? And as a group, you would have known, would you?
Yeah, I would think so. Yes. Yeah. I think time stopped. To be honest, that's what it felt like.
Really.
And then we sort of like looked at the time again, and my pal says, "Oh God, look at the time! It's 9:20 or whatever. I'm going to have to go here. I'm going to have to shoot off." So time seemed to slow down, but then when we checked the time, it flew by again. Yeah,
that's a good question, Catherine, because when you initially contacted me and we spoke about lots of things, I don't think I asked that, and there's like almost. We'll never know, will we? Because you probably didn't look at the clocks and think, "Good God, 9:15," and now it's 11:30. But time distortion. But they appeared to be a little bit of discrepancy. Then, do you think?
Yeah, I would say so. Definitely.
Yeah.
Looking at the lights, I don't know. I would be guessing, Paul. To be honest.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's good enough. That's good enough. I'm just looking if we've any more questions here, and. Don't think we have, so you're going to have to right. So that is missing time. Catherine's just said so. That is missing time. Yeah.
If I can mention missing time was about the one UFO over the pylons.
Yeah, the third sighting, and then we want some questions. But before we talk about that one, I just want to touch on the books, if I may, the Truth Proof books, which are available. Anybody new to the site, or if you're interested in books regarding UFOs, unexplained phenomena, Truth Proof books behind me. There's 4 books, 1, 2, 3, and 4, obviously, and the book The Night People, about my own experiences. They're available on truthproof.uk or on eBay. If you're going to buy them overseas, please use the eBay link, because we can use global shipping and the cost just same as UK. There's also the DVD, which I've done with Les Drake, which myself and Les are really proud of, to be honest with you. A lot of hard work gone into Wolflands, and I still hold my hand on heart, think that's one of the best cryptid-related films out there. So myself and Les are still selling that. That's on truthproof.uk or on eBay. And I also need to add that me and Les are still working on Wolfland 2. So nothing's changed in that respect. And we can move on. Lord, hold on a minute. Have we got another one? What did you... I may as well show it. I don't know if it's a question, actually. Oh, Dragonborn. Good evening, Johnny. What did your ex make of it all, please?
Yeah, when it all happened, yeah, she was the same as me. We just sat down and we were trying to discuss what had happened and trying to get our head around it. Because, you know, it doesn't happen every day. We're asking questions to each other and did this really happen? Did we really see these lights? You know, and obviously I drew what I drew, and she says, wow. She says, I wish I had a look closer at the time as well. But it was just... yeah, just questionable. No, we couldn't answer each other's questions. It was just disbelief.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, when you would explain to her what you'd been given, the images that you'd been given, the experience that you'd been given afterwards, and I don't think it's too far away to say that they'd given you that for some reason to close you down.
Of course, yeah.
What did she think to that? That must have frightened her. That must have.
Yeah. The reason why she woke us up, she says, because I didn't think you were going to come out of it. She says you were just shaking silently, and there was apparently I wasn't saying any words when my mouth was open, and I was just shaking violently, moving up and down, sweating, obviously, kicking out. And then when I was arching my back, and then she was just trying to keep us down. So there's some type of poltergeist. She says, that's all I can.
It's just what's going through my head now. But there's so many parallels to poltergeist activity, and even it almost sounds like the film Poltergeist, doesn't it? Or similar to The Exorcist. And it just shows that these things are connected. Because if you'd have only had that experience. And not seeing the UFOs, you would have been discussing the same thing that you discussed in what you told us, but we would have never tried to draw it a parallel or a comparison or a connection to the UFO. Would we?
Yeah. What frightened her, and she got really upset, was when I said I could taste the blood of the nearest people, you know, of my mum and dad. I could taste their blood, and my face was covered. And she says, when you were moving your hands across your face, she says,
you were doing all the gestures of what you were.
And I says, well, I can remember that would have been to clear the blood out my eyes.
Yeah, wow, just absolutely terrifying.
In tasting, I could taste their blood as well, and it was seeing the skin. You know, when I did come back back up north, I went and see my mum and dad, and the first thing I did was hug them. And I gave them a kiss and hugged them tight, and they're like, "Whoa, what's going on here?" I didn't explain the reason why, but
did that feel alien to you? And I don't pardon the pun to do. Yes. Obviously, you love your mum and dad. Everybody in chat loves the parents, don't they? We all do. We hope we do. But for you to go and give them really warm embraces, is that like something you wouldn't normally do?
No, I was holding them tight. I didn't want to let them go. And they looked at me going, "Oh, what's going on here? You're nearly 40 odd years old. Down here."
So Rick Bennett, hi Johnny, thanks for sharing your story. Do you think the nightmares, the starlings, the TV connected, some kind of frequency manipulation? I guess we'll never know, Rick. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, he's got a good point. Maybe it is, because it all happened at the same time. It's never happened before. It never happened before, and never happened after. Maybe yes. Yeah. I would definitely think there's something out there telling us, obviously, at the time, to keep my mouth shut. You know.
Yeah.
Don't talk about it.
Let's just have a look at this one. Let's have a look, Johnny. Just want you to know that I have experienced many paranormal events over my life. Your dream. I have done the same, although I was on my own. The dream was I'll not read it, but we get it, Catherine. I'll not say it because they're probably not like us saying it, but that's terrifying.
Yeah. I can see where she's coming from, because feeling that loved ones.
Yeah, absolutely.
Facial.
It's just terrible, isn't it? Absolutely, it really is. You know. Steve-O, do you feel you were targeted for these experiences? That's interesting. As in, you were specially targeted because obviously your friend saw the pyramid inside the object and he didn't.
Yep.
How has it changed you and your thoughts?
Yeah, good question, Stevie. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I was targeted. Yes, and the reason being is obviously I seen something what I shouldn't have seen. I don't know. Maybe that pyramid I seen, I shouldn't have seen that one. It was okay to see another one, but not that one. I don't know. Of course, it's changed my life. Yeah, from that day. Yes, 100%. It's changed my thoughts as well. I've never talked about it for 12 years. And there's certain things what
yeah,
I haven't went into detail exactly what experiences during the night tour.
Yeah, and I need to stress that because we'll not go into any more detail, but Jonny has not gone into the detail and the ferocity of what he saw because we wouldn't be talking about it. We just haven't, and we can't do. But it were horrific. It were truly horrific, and I'm glad I never experienced anything like it.
No, I wouldn't wish it on anybody. I just wouldn't wish it on anybody. Anything what's got feelings, I wouldn't wish it on.
And the strange thing is, I mean, I've no axe to grind with all the people who think that the people within the UFOs, the occupants, the non-human intelligences, they're wonderful and they're euphoric and all love and light. Well, maybe in some instances there are, but I think if these were true beings of unknown origin that you saw that night and imparted that message to you that night, then there's a very dark side.
Oh,
to what we were dealing with, which can't be denied.
Yeah, and it is pure evil. Yeah, that's all I can describe it as. Yeah, pure evil. It was even down to the animals. I had a beautiful dog and it died. And that dog was there as well. And I was feeling all of the pain that dog was going through. Not just family. What I'm trying to say, it was every living thing what you love was being ripped apart in front of you, and you were feeling that pain and
it's horrific. It's horrific, isn't it? Absolutely. And I see, let's just get this up here. Let's have a look. This must have been a shocking memory. Contactees forget or are made to forget some aspects of contact, avoiding anything you don't want to remember. Do you have any new memories surfacing?
No, never once. Never once. No. Eventually started to, my sleep patterns eventually started to get back into it. It took a long time, Paul. It wasn't over a week. It took a long time. And I wasn't sleeping either with my partner as well. I couldn't. A lot of times I would just be sitting on the settee and then drop off to sleep that week, catch a few hours. But eventually I started to sort of put it in the back of my mind, and then obviously started to get me regular sleep. But it's never ever happened before. It never happened before, and it definitely hasn't happened again. Never once.
No, I hope not. But do you have a little bit of apprehension talking about it tonight?
No, I don't. Yeah, I do a little bit, but it's a good experience to get it off my chest, and hopefully your listeners can, I don't know, just to say that you're not alone. Whatever you've seen and done,
absolutely, you're not alone. But it's a frightening. You're not alone in some aspects, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I'm hoping, and I said this at the beginning when we started at 7 o'clock or just after. That when this filters through, that somebody there that night, somebody on looking out to sea, somebody may have seen them. And I'm not necessarily, I won't wish this experience on anybody, but somebody else might have something to relate.
Yeah.
And, and it could be another pice of the puzzle for you, John,
It'd be absolutely brilliant. Yeah, if they did. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. And if they did go through the night terrors, I would love to have a chat with that person, just experience and think, wow, what would be their recollection of actually, what they felt and
well, I don't want to dwell on this pain, but I just want to get one thing straight. I've lost my parents, and that the emotional loss, we've lost a child as well. The emotional loss and the feeling it gives is like no other. It's absolute. That's the first time I've ever said that about the child, anywhere really. I'd only talking about it to my wife. So, but the feeling is the pain like no other. But what you felt, without going into detail again, you actually felt the pain, didn't you? You didn't feel the emotional pain.
Yeah.
You also felt the pain.
Yes, yeah. The nearest and dearest. You felt there when that skin was getting pulled off them and all the blood and everything else. You were that person. You were feeling that pain, and it wasn't just one person. It was happening simultaneously. Everyone was getting the same pain, and it was so so violent.
So graphic and violent. And well, we've got 10 minutes, and I think we've got another sighting after that, haven't we? So shall we? Well, we can. If we've got questions, we will go over. But if they exhaust the questions, we'll talk about the third sighting. Then I know we're not going. It's not going to probably take 10 minutes. This. So a few questions, please, from people in chat. The one coming back from the wedding, July 2016.
What it was, I've written it down here. July 2016. Lost an hour and a half time. I can remember looking at in my watch at the time. And what it was some type of UFO. It was over a pylon. This was in Northumberland. We'll come back from a wedding, and we just pulled over. I was sober at the time. Pulled over. I went, wow, what on earth is this? And sure enough, it was pulling electricity. It seemed to be pulling electricity from the pylon.
Really? You could see an arc of electricity coming?
Yes, you could actually see it. And the UFO was getting closer to it, and it was just pulling this electricity around it. And the glow of the UFO was getting whiter and whiter and whiter. This around about, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes I watched this. Another car pulled up. He also got out and stood and stared at it as well. And we just watched it. And after 5 minutes, the sky was white. It lit up the full field. After 5 minutes, it went pitch black and it shot off at fantastic speed.
So was it the glow off the object that lit the field up, or was it a white light?
Yeah, the glow off the object itself. I didn't have any binoculars. I was quite close to it, probably about 200 yards off it. But that amazing to see, But that was just pure electricity coming off it.
And what shape was that then, John?
All I could see was just the glow. I couldn't see the shape of it. Again, it probably around about, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 foot by 10, 15 foot. Well, amazing to see. That was just all electricity. It was just pulling electricity from the pylon. And when I was pulling it about one closer in as well, and the glow got whiter. See, after 5 minutes, poof, was shot off. I didn't take my camera out, and the guy who pulled over, he didn't either. We just both stood there and went, wow.
It is a wow, isn't it? You know, it's absolutely incredible. And let's assume then, you probably gave us a rough time, but if it were 9 o'clock, you lost 1.5 hours of time, including the travel back. Or
Yes. So as I got back home, I went, oh my God, what's happened in the last hour and a half? It just disappeared. You know, it just the time just went nowhere. I thought, wow.
Do you know, looking at people in chat, I see Sinclair's in chat. That's my youngest daughter, or I say mine, as though there's only me, Adam, our youngest daughter. And Laura rang me coming back from work today, and she'll not mind me saying, because I won't go into too much detail. She said, because she doesn't have any weird experiences. Usually, Laura, last night, obviously she lives with her husband and children, went upstairs to get some shorts at top at house, and doesn't know how she got to bottom at house, and it was 6 in the morning when she woke up. And just contacted me as she was coming home from work today with that little story. We'll get I'll get a little bit more detail about that, Laura. But I'm just thinking about missing time and things like that. And do you sometimes think to yourself, you know, people want regression? Do you think that maybe you don't really want to know?
No, I don't.
No,
Definitely not. No. I just, you know, we both looked at each other and went, what's happened in the last hour and a half?
Yeah.
It just disappeared, you know.
No marks on your body, no.
And I slept perfect that night as well, Paul.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, to myself, I was thinking, oh, please, please.
I don't want another night.
Yeah,
Well, when you think about it, what happened? I mean, anybody with a medical problem, a art problem, or anything that it could have killed somebody that night. The actual stress that you would have put your body under with the convulsions and everything else.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. If I had a weak heart or anything, or any medical condition, definitely 100%.
Well, it's amazing how many times we never consider getting our phone out during a strange encounter.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Right. And did you have a camera with you when you saw them over at sea?
No. No, mine was in the house. The missus, she got her camera out, and what happened was basically she didn't pick anything up, to be honest.
No,
you could just see a tiny little dot, and that was it. She didn't really. But yeah, we didn't at the time. No,
well, it's easy. Everybody says that, don't they? Why? People skeptically minded will say, "Well, why didn't you get a camera? You went and got your binoculars. Why didn't you get a camera?"
Yeah.
We've done it on cliff tops, John. I mean, we've been stood up there. Linny was in chat. Other people, Martin Abbas has been up there with us. I mean, and we've seen things.
Yeah.
We went and you for a few seconds at least, you're trying to put it into that box called normal. You're not. You're thinking, what is it? Is that an aircraft? What could that be? You're not.
You're trying to work it out logically, and you're just thinking, what on earth is it? There was well over 1,000 people seeing what I'd seen. None of them got the cameras out.
No.
After they did, why didn't they push? Put the picture into the papers.
Well,
maybe the papers weren't allowed to show it. I don't know.
Well, maybe. I mean, but I see Al Durham's asked that question early doors, and he used to have online newspaper archive, Al, because I've tapped him up a few times to look for things for me, and he'll remember that. So maybe Al can have a route round if he's still got that. And thanks for moderating tonight, Lee, and thank you, Alison. Really appreciate that. And I don't suppose any more thoughts on this are going to come back into your head. I think you've covered this in pretty much in detail there, John. And a little bit more detail than some people would have liked, but I suppose you can't tell the story without adding a.
I've actually only scraped the surface.
I know that, and don't dig any deeper with it.
No, I won't, because obviously they'll.
But it's terrible. But I really hope that through this somebody feels brave enough, maybe thinking, like you said, over 1,000 people. How do you know there were over 1,000?
Just what the reporter had said.
All right, got you.
Is that had constant phone calls, a few hundred every day, and then there were people they were trying to get reports from. She said there was too many of them. She said it was impossible. And the editor would only put so much in the papers as well. And
just out of interest, because I don't think I asked you that, you weren't, and it's not been touched in the questions, you weren't asked if you'd seen anything with nature at job that you were doing?
No. And when I see the reporter, she just says, "Can you tell us your sightings and what did you see?" Yeah. And then obviously would describe what we'd seen. She says there's so many sightings exactly the same as what you've said.
All right. So Steve-O says, do you ever feel their presence around you?
Occasionally, not all the time. Sometimes I feel like I'm being, I don't know, maybe watched. Not very often. Not very often. No. Yeah.
And prior to seeing the UFOs and the experience, did you never feel like that?
Only after the experiences. Yeah. Never before. Never ever before.
No. Fair enough. And let's just have a look. You okay for a minute? There's another question.
Yeah. Carry on, Paul. I'm fine.
Yeah. Have you any medical issues following these events? Has your GP found any unusual lumps in the skin or heart problems?
No, none at all. None whatsoever. No, none at all. Occasionally, on my elbows and my knees, I have a psoriasis flare, which I've never experienced before. But after that experience, I started to get little symptoms of it. I don't know if that's got anything to do with it or not. I've no idea.
Yes. Okay, thank you. And I think we're just about there with that, John. And unless you have anything else that you want to add to it.
No, not without going into too much depth. No,
No. I know we've sort of covered it well, and I will just have another look at these pictures, and before we close it down, and so people get an idea of that. We know they can look on the beginning, because I've got to admit, even though you'd sent me the pictures, and this John's story is in Truth Proof 4. The last Truth Proof that I wrote, but I'd never realised that we got a little yacht on sea, because I'd not looked at the picture that big. So, those lights are giving a lot of influence. We know it's only a sketch, but you're throwing it in as much sort of, I don't know, as much scale as you could possibly do, aren't you?
Yeah. I just remember a small, a yacht being there, and it looked quite small.
Yeah. But that could have been further back, do you think?
I think so, yeah. But certainly them lights were a lot more forward, definitely, yeah.
Yeah. And definitely another thing then, just to dwell on this for a moment, the pyramids that you saw, the two, when you looked at the two lights, were they tilted or were they perfectly level?
Yeah, perfectly level. Everything was level in a straight horizontal line. Everything was perfect. Yeah,
I meant inside the light, John.
Yeah, inside the light, everything was perfect. Yeah. They weren't altered. They were all exactly level.
Yeah, okay. And obviously, did you draw those pulsating white lights oval because they were oval?
Yes, that's the way they were. That's what I remember. Yes.
Yeah, and
definitely. And
it's incredible.
Rotating of bronze metallic, the color, and there was some type of hieroglyphics on it, but I couldn't make out exactly what they were. The binoculars weren't that good.
Do you know Mark, who comes up onto cliff tops with us? I think Linny knows this story. I can't even go into it in detail because I don't know enough about it myself. I think it's his brother-in-law went down to Mark lives in Bempton, and his brother-in-law came to visit him. I've got to get this right. And he went down to look at the cliffs early in the morning. And sometimes you can go down there, and probably same conditions as what you would have experienced. If there's a mist or sea threat come in, you can't see the land. It almost blends with the top of the cliffs. Just looks like you're walking through cloud. If there weren't a fence there, you'd walk straight over the cliff. Claims that there's a huge pyramid in the mist, just rising out of the mist. Yeah. So that's one that we've got to cover. I'm just waiting for Mark's relative to come so that I can go through that one with him. But this was monstrously huge, and as it were lifting into the air, he said he could see inside it. I'm not going to say what he could see because I haven't got enough detail, but this shape, it's fascinating. Triangular shaped UFOs, pyramid shapes. It's fascinating, isn't it? And to say that you could kind of see hieroglyphs on it and things,
Yeah. I couldn't make them out what they were, but I was just in awe. I was staring at this as long as I possibly could. It was rotating, and then it would just shoot off, and then another one would replace it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well,
that's fantastic to see. But I just read one of the questions there. Would you come back on the show? Yeah, I would definitely come back on the show, 100%. Yeah.
I would love you to, John, and I really hope that this doesn't sort of revive anything. But
fingers crossed it doesn't. Yeah, because if it does, I'll not be come back on the show.
Well, we just let's deal with this. There's definitely a triangle theme. Yeah. They're trying to teach us something. I witnessed 3 spheres arrange themselves into a triangle formation. You make such a good point, Lisa. Yeah. We know that 3 of anything can form a triangle, even if it's not a perfect equilateral triangle. But it is fascinating, isn't it? That there's so many things, and once again, we aren't going too deep, even in occult practice, which we don't sort of subscribe to or really get involved in, as in even talking about it. The triangles feature quite strongly, and sigils and containing things in triangles within the. So there's something to be found there. I'm sure a lot of people have done a lot more work on it than I have. I've hardly even touched it, but you make a great point there, Lisa.
Yeah, there's some type of message they're giving. I don't know what it may be, but
absolutely, it's fascinating. So, John, I'm going to say good night from myself. Thank you, everyone in chat. We've had nearly 300 people in chat, and I hope you've all been as interested as I have. And I can only thank John for just coming on and sharing an hour of this. What's been an interesting but terrible experience in parts for yourself, John.
Yeah, it has, and I appreciate everybody and the questions. Thanks for listening. I pray that none of you's ever experienced the night terrors what I did. But the sightings were, absolutely phenomenal. Just to see what we'd seen was absolutely brilliant. But yeah, I'll definitely come on again. And any further questions at any other time, I'm more than happy to answer, definitely. But
well, yeah. I mean, we've got that. That's basically what your story's done to people. I'm absolutely moved by this account. Thanks, Johnny. Thank you, Rick.
yeah,
And Dragonborn, excellent evening. Thank you. I knew people. This is the reason I was so pleased to get you to finally share this story. Yeah. And for those that think I've actually badgered Johnny to do it, I haven't, have I?
No, you haven't. It's been the opposite way around. When I knew it was time to tell the story, I've been obviously emailing you and saying, I would like to share the experience now. I can only hit a little bit of what I've mentioned, but I
think they get the picture. You literally did paint an horrific picture, and I'm not saying that's good, but it was more than enough. And I'm just looking. We've got Margaret Webster, Lion, Tony Worrell, Carl Dan. Good to see you, Carl. Moondog, Simon Riley. We know Rick Bennett's in. Blue Shift Rob. Thanks, Rob, for all support, mate. And Martin Abbas and Steve 071. And I'm going to say thank you, Johnny, and good night from myself.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
Yes, bud. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.